Hello and welcome to the Coaching Podcast, Coaching for Success in Sport and Business. Your host is Emma Doyle, the energy and high performance under pressure coach who is a world leader in unleashing human potential. Buckle up for this high octane session. Let them have it, Coach.
G'day everybody, Coach M here, and remember, our featured partner, finding your perfect coach shouldn't feel like a guessing game. Meet Sam, the AI that matches you with a coach who truly gets you. Your goals, your values, your personality, all aligned. Discover your perfect match at trysam.ai. Now, today we have a repeat guest. Back in the day when I used to walk around with my dictaphone and interview people for a couple of minutes, now I actually get to sit down and talk one-on-one with Gigi Fernández. I'm thrilled to be joined by this legend of our sport and our great sport of tennis. She's a Hall of Famer, a pioneer, and one of the greatest doubles players of all time, with 17 Grand Slam titles, 2 Olympic gold medals, and the honour of being named Puerto Rican Athlete of the Century. Whoa, Nelly. After a remarkable playing career, Gigi turned her passion into teaching, founding the Gigi Method, a clear, structured way to help adult players master doubles. Beyond tennis, Gigi is making an incredible impact through Tennis for Hope, a foundation she started after her own home was destroyed by Hurricane Helene. She's now uniting the tennis community to support people affected by natural disasters, raising funds, rebuilding facilities, communities, and delivering real hope where it's needed most. Gigi Fernández, an icon on court, a change maker off it, and a leader with purpose. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Emma. It's great to see you.
Yeah, and of course, we don't have too many guests come back twice. Now, we do have you on the show again. Yes.
When was I here? God, I don't remember. How long ago was that?
Oh, it was about 6 years ago when I used to walk around with a dictaphone in my handbag and just quickly interview people. This is going to be a lot different. We get to actually have a proper chat. But we do like to kick it off with a quote. I've got my little fortune cookie dream ball here. Do you want the top one, the middle one, the bottom one? Which quote do you want?
I want one from the middle.
One. I thought you might choose that. I like that about you. All right. This is the quote that you got, and I want you to tell me what it means to you.
Okay.
Coaching conversation is more about asking than telling.
Interesting. Yeah. I mean, I think the role of a coach is to be a good listener and to be adaptable, right? Not two students are the same. So you definitely have to sort of listen to what your student has to say or think about. And, on the one hand, on the other hand, there's really two types of people, because some people just want to be told what to do. And there were times in my career where I didn't want to have to think. It's like, me, you see me better than I see myself on the court. It's very hard as players to see ourselves, to see what's going on. And at first I used to really fight this. I used to come up a match and my coach would say, whatever, ABC. And I would say, no. It's actually what happened was D, E, and F. And he'd be like, no, it was A, B, and C. And then he'd say, okay, let's go watch it on a video. And then we watched the video and it's like, oh, you're right. It was A, B, C, and D. A, B, and C. I was wrong. So over time, I learned to trust them and let them decide and tell me what they saw, because they definitely are, not as emotional, obviously, as you are when you're performing. They have a different lens. So learn to trust your coaches early on would be the moral of that story. Yeah.
Well, I like that, in the fact that straight away you've just kicked it off with, it depends on who's in front of you, right? So yes, we have to listen to see how we're even going to communicate with the person who's in front of us. So I love that. All right, so let's talk about your fiery, competitive nature, right? So correct me if I'm wrong. I'm just wondering, that's what I saw from the outside as a girl looking up to you, and doubles being a passion of mine when I was playing tennis. Were you always competitive?
Yeah, so I was born with this competitive edge. Like when my siblings were little, I always wanted to beat them. I mean, down to this is a funny story. We would sit at the table, say go to a restaurant, and they put down 10 fritters, or whatever, 20 fritters. And then most people would grab one at a time, right? Well, I would take 3 or 4 and hide them under my plate. So then as my siblings were eating, and then when everybody was done eating, I was still eating. because I had hidden them, right? Because I have to win everything. I had to have more fritters than my brothers, and I had to be on when I'm driving. If I'm at a red light, I have to be first out of the red light. So I think it's something innate, and it's been in me my whole life. But I have to say, at 60-year old, as a 60-year-old, it's a problem, and I work. I don't work at not being competitive because I don't know how, but I need to learn how to be less competitive than I am. I like to tell the joke that being competitive is good, but to have to beat your 3-year-old at cards is not healthy. So I don't know if you have some answers for me. I would really appreciate it. Like, how do you let go of that competitiveness when you've been so competitive your whole life? And I don't have an answer, but hopefully you do. Do you?
Well, I mean, I'm married to someone who reminds me a lot of you in many ways. I think you and her once played cards together, and it was like, you two were like just going at it. And I see it, and I'm competitive, but also I'm not as talented, right? So as a player, I wasn't as naturally gifted. So there's that whole balance there of when you don't win as much.
Right. So you have to kind of let it go,
So
right?
yeah, I mean, and I think though, the one thing that I will say to coaches out there, if you're dealing with somebody like that, is how do you harness it, right? How do you give them tools to let the emotion be released? Because that's the thing. When you trap the emotion of the competitiveness in too much, it plays out unresourcefully. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah. No, absolutely. So I think there was two things that were sort of instrumental in my life that changed my career from a very temperamental, very talented young person into that would lose matches because I lost my temper and just would go nuts, right? And two things I did, or one in particular that helped me make that transition, and it was learning to meditate. Like when I learned to sort of quiet the mind, and I learned the skill of changing one thought for another without judgment or emotion. So when you meditate, you're supposed to think for 20 minutes about one thing alone, which is your mantra or your breath if you don't have a mantra. And what I found was, when I started learning to meditate, I couldn't sustain my concentration for more than 30 or 45 seconds. And then I was off thinking about something else, getting mad at myself for being such a loser and berating myself internally. And then over time, it's like, I started changing my internal messaging, and it was like, okay, you're off course again. Let's just get it back on track. And then, okay, you're back on course. It's okay. Let's get it back on track. So I learned how to change one thought for another, right? And take the judgment and the emotion away. So how that translated onto the tennis court, whereas, if I missed an easy ball on a crucial moment, that would be, I would go ballistic and lose the match. I could just then, instead of change the thought that I had, which is I want to commit suicide because I just missed that ball, to it's okay, let's try to win the next point, and you're still in this match, and let's continue. So it was that skill of changing your thoughts, but taking the emotion away from your thoughts. And then the other thing that was super important that I wish I could, if we could figure out how to bottle this, how to teach people how to lose. Like, I didn't learn to lose till I was 30. The first, and by that I mean the first time that I lost a match and enjoyed myself, I was 30 years old.
Wow.
And it was the semifinals of singles at Wimbledon. And I remember coming off that match, and telling my coach, I'm okay. Like, I lost, but I'm okay. And that was the first time in my life that I lost a match and I was okay. Like, I didn't have like a 3-day fit of depression, or I wasn't so angry that I couldn't live with myself. So, so learning to lose, like, and what I learned from that is that when you lose, you learn, right? You have to learn to lose, but when you lose, you learn, because winning, you don't really learn much when you're winning because you're winning, right? But when you lose, I try to teach this to my daughters. Like, you have to figure out why you didn't win. What was it that caused you to lose? Like, what was specifically? Was it you weren't fit enough? You didn't hit your forehand well enough? You didn't get enough first serves in? Your thoughts got in your way? You were too tired? Like, whatever it is. And then you go work on that. Pick one thing. Don't pick 5 things at the same time. Like, pick one thing, work on it. And then when you lose again, hopefully you don't lose for the same reason. right? And then over a career, you stop losing for the same reason, then you're going to start to win because you fixed the reason you were losing, right? So so that whole process was really valuable to learn. And the sooner that anybody in any endeavor, whether it's, you know, you didn't get the promotion, or, you know, why didn't you get the promotion? Like, whether it's that or you lost a match, why did you lose the match? I think there's definitely a lot to learn when you lose.
So what's coming up? And I'm super curious if that Rudyard Kipling quote on the Wimbledon centre court,
Yes.
if you can meet triumph and disaster and treat those two imposters just the same. Treat the two imposters just the
Imposters
same
is
is exactly what you're talking about. And this is not easy.
No.
Especially in business, going for the deal, you don't get the deal. And many times that doesn't happen. So that's losing, right? So,
Yeah.
so much good stuff in what you said. So I'm wanting to know, like,
How?
did you see the quote before you walked out? Like, or was it something that you appreciate later in life? That's part one. And part two, I'm dying to know, what do you like on the sidelines as a parent watching your child
Oh my
play?
God.
So it's
I
a
don't know if you want to talk
two-part
about
question.
that. But okay, so I'll tell you the first one. And it's funny enough, it happened at Wimbledon, but I didn't have an awareness. I mean, I had an awareness of the quote, but it wasn't something that I lived by. But what happened, how I had my aha moment on this, you know, losing, learning to lose and whatnot, and sort of being okay with winning and losing. I was playing in the Wimbledon final, and it was my second final in a row. And I was down 4-1 break. The other team was serving 4-1 breaks. They were serving to go up 5-1 and 30-15, and it rained. So we come off the court, and I had a mental guru, I call him. The guy used to help me with my mindset. And he says to me, Gigi, you need to detach from the outcome. And I was like, what the hell? What does that mean? Like, I mean, like, no, it wasn't so much what does that mean, but how can I detach from the outcome? It's a Wimbledon final. And the previous year finals, the same four players were on the court, but we had all switched, right? So, and how the switch happened was that I was in the losing end of the final the previous year. I was playing with Yana Novotná, and I was playing against Natasha, my future partner, and her partner. When the match ended, we lost 6-4 in the third. Yana defaulted a match point, and after the match, she says, you know, we need to talk. And I'm like, oh, whatever you want to talk, we can talk about later. She says, no, we have to talk now. So then she tells me, I don't want to play with you anymore. And I was like, wait a second, we just won the French Open 3 weeks ago, and we're in the finals of Wimbledon. What's going on here? Well, unbeknownst to Natasha and I, Larissa and Yana had agreed to play together the rest of the year before the finals. So they already knew they were going to dump us. So now fast forward a year, and a year of hate and vitriol going on in the locker rooms, as you can imagine. And we're playing them now in the Wimbledon final. And my guy says, well, you just have to detach from the outcome. And I'm like, I just want to kill these, you know what? So I said, okay, well, how do I do that? He says, okay, well, you have to go on the court and you have to play every single point like it's match point, understanding that it does not matter if you win or lose. Absolutely doesn't matter. Like, when you're still going to be the French Open finalist, you're still or champion, the Wimbledon finalist. You're going to come back next year and have 3, 4, 5, 6 more times to win this title. Your parents are still going to love you tomorrow. You're still healthy. You're not in a war zone. You're not a brain surgeon. Nothing's going to change about your life if you win this title or if you don't win this title. And I was like, I mean, I guess you're right. Right? I mean, good point. I won't have as much money in my bank account, but I'm still doing okay. And I won't have the trophy, but I'm still really going to be okay. So somehow we went out and we lost one more game. We broke right away, won that at 6-4, and we won the next one 6-1. And that was it. I mean, that was our second Grand Slam that Natasha and I won together, and we won 6 in a row, and then we won 14 in 5 years, which was, I mean, incredible streak in a short period of time. And that was my motto, detach. I mean, anytime there was a match point or a break point or a game point or we're down, I was stressed, not playing well or whatever, I was always like, just detach, doesn't matter. Detach from the outcome. Doesn't matter if you win or lose. Which when you analyze it, it doesn't, right? I mean, if you think big picture, big world, it doesn't matter. It's just a tennis match.
One of my mindset coaches calls that, you know, the evidence list, right? You see how you just went through all the evidence that can prove that
Yeah.
actually outweighs in the moment where you think that match is everything and it's your entire life.
Right.
And it's
Right.
so this is, God, Gigi, this is gold dust for people out there listening. Like these
Yeah.
nuggets of being still, detached from the outcome, learning from your losses. So good. All right, now take me into this parenting mindset now. Now you have to go there because you're being vulnerable already, right? So
Yes.
keep being
Okay.
vulnerable. You got this.
Okay. What are the chances my daughter's going to see this? Probably 0%. Okay. So I find it super challenging to be a parent on the sidelines. Extremely challenging. My daughter plays a team sport, which is foreign to me. You know, I'm an individual athlete. So in an individual sport, the athlete coach parent triad is very important. So it's not just the athlete, it's the athlete and the parent and the coach that are all, and now it's full teams, you know, the trainer, the masseuse, blah, 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 the agent. So in the soccer culture, the parents don't exist. They're just simply there to pay. Nobody wants any input from you, even though, you know, I think I probably have a lot to offer potentially this team, from the psychological perspective and even just from the inspirational perspective, you know, like bring my gold medals out and show the girls, like, no, never asked me to do anything or be involved. But, you know, I take solace in the fact that, you know, Abby Wambach, one of the best soccer players in the history of soccer. I listened to her podcast and she has the same experience with her daughter who plays soccer. So I'm like, okay, if they don't want Abby's help, they clearly don't want my help. But it's very hard to have no control whatsoever over the decisions that your daughter's making, or and you know, and they're teenagers. She's a teenager. She's a 16-year-old girl, teenager, which is a challenging age, as any parent of a 16-year-old say. So that's the bad side of it. The good side of it is, you know, I feel like I'm incredibly supportive. Like, we don't put any pressure on her. If she wants to quit soccer tomorrow, we would be supportive of that. We drive her everywhere. We do all we can to support her. And that's all you could do. But it's hard. It's freaking hard. You know, now it's a little bit easier because, you know, she was on a new team 3 years ago and she was kind of fighting to earn her spot. You know, now she's probably one of the best 2 or 3 players on the team. It's definitely a little bit easier now than it used to be at the beginning, but it's challenging.
I mean, that's that struggle piece too, isn't it? And as parents, you don't want to see them struggle, but they need to go through a struggle phase to then experience the good stuff. You know, it's a cycle, isn't it? So so thank you for that, because plenty of people kids who play sport and they themselves, even in business, are super competitive, and now they're wanting to help.
It's particularly hard with your children because, you know, the mama bear comes out. You know, when somebody wrongs your children, like, these feelings come up that I didn't know existed, or like contemplated murder several times. You know, but
lucky there's no names on the podcast. No. I'm like crazy. That with my nieces and nephews, so I can't even imagine otherwise. I've been known to, when I'm even just walking past public tennis courts, to jump on and help. You know, if I see a lot of kids, and anyway, all right. Well, let's talk about you as a young coach as well. Like, I feel like this episode, you're being super vulnerable, and thank you for that. You're a great player. Now you chose to go into coaching, and I love that as well. How did you find it back in the early days, and what was that shift? I know you and I met through Tennis Congress. Shout out to all our Tennis Congress mates and athletes. You know, we treat them like athletes, right? So what was it like for you as an early coach, and then and then fast forward to tell us a bit about the GG method and how that's going.
Okay, so early on, the first level coaching I did was college. Well, actually, before that, I helped some Puerto Rican juniors. Early on, I always felt the need to give back to Puerto Rico, so I helped some juniors. Vilmari Castelvi was an aspiring. She was NCAA champion for Tennessee and went on to have a pro career. So I was kind of mentoring her and a couple of the juniors. But I think probably the first real true array that I had into coaching was being a college coach here at the University of South Florida in Tampa, which was a full-time job. What I found challenging about that was sort of making the transition from coaching super high-level tennis and watching super high-level tennis to sort of mediocre tennis, right? I mean, if you want to put it in the sense that college players are mediocre relative to being number one in the world, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And having really strong opinions about how they should do things at first, and then going through that learning curve of, okay, this is not working because they don't have the talent level, and then sort of learning to adjust your coaching and your tactics really is strategy. Like I remember at first I was adamant that my doubles teams were going to serve and volley. Like you got to serve and volley. That's how you play doubles. You got to return and come in. That's how you win. And after several losses, it's like, okay, your volleys aren't good enough to serve and volley. So you're going to stay in the baseline and want to figure out a way to win. So you start to figure, kind of change your methods as you learn your students and realize that, you come with a set of tools and you can help to improve the tools, but you have to coach to the current level, right? You can't you can't get lemons from an orange tree, right?
Yep.
So I kind of learned that
Yep.
early on. And what was the second part of the question?
Well, the when we met, you had launched
the
the
adults,
Gigi method and the adults and giving back. Like, I mean, even I'd love even just one of your gold dust, Gigi method doubles tips for our listeners out there.
I started the Gigi method because I was working at a club in Connecticut as director of tennis, and I found myself, questioning what to do many times, because the members would come up to me and they would say, I got lobbed, and Joe told me that when I get lobbed I should switch, and then Peter tells me when I got lobbed I should switch and go back. Which one is it? I'm like, okay, well, I have my opinions about this. And then the other one that we kind of all disagreed on was, how do you cover the court? Like, when there's two players at the net, who gets what ball? And I was pretty adamant about who gets what ball, because one thing Natasha and I were really good at, and I sort of pride myself in this throughout my career, was really understanding the game of doubles. Like, I was born understanding the game of doubles. Like, I was Puerto Rico national champion at 12, and I always understood the court, the geometry of the court, which is really different than the singles court. Is where you cover doubles. I understood high percentage. Had a really good coach in Don Usher, who was the women's coach at Harvard. Very early on, he taught me about the geometry of tennis, from the strokes to the actual court, and what is high percentage, what is low percentage. And that's not debatable. Like, if shot is high percentage or low percentage, you can't debate it. It's either it's going to go in 8 out of 10 times, or it's going to go in 6 out of 10 times, right? So what's high percentage? The one that goes in 8 out of 10 times. So what I created. So then what I would get on the court with my pros, and I would say, okay, let's just go through the whole game. Let's start with the forehand today. And we developed a way to teach the forehand, a way to teach the backhand. And then when it came down to doubles, it was like, okay, they tried to debate me on what they thought should be happening, but in the end, they didn't win on the doubles debates. I gave up on a lot of things, but not on doubles, because I just knew too much. And and then I was also coaching 3-5, 4-0, 4-5 players. So I had already learned that I had to coach to the level. So then I went to the tennis congress, and actually where we first met was the first time that I went to an event that was full of adults who wanted to get better. And I was shocked that there was 300 people at this event that had paid, whatever, a couple $1,000s for a weekend to get better. And I was like, this actually is happening in this country. Like, I thought that, I had this impression that if you were a 3-5, you're going to be 3-5 for the rest of your life, and you weren't going to go spend thousands of dollars to get better. But when I discovered that, it was like, okay, well, I think I have a lot to offer to all these people, because I have so much to give. I have so much knowledge, and I always felt that it was a shame and I feel it's a shame for any player that has this much knowledge to not share it. And so that's why I started sharing, traveling, going to tennis congress, and also USTA, USPTR conventions, and kind of just sharing as much as I could.
Yeah. So go and give us one. Like, who should take the middle ball?
Yeah. So what, one of the worst mistakes that people make when playing when the two players are at the net was moving like a windshield wiper, because that creates middle confusion. You never know who gets the middle ball. So I teach staggering. So I don't teach players to follow the ball, because pros know where to stop, but recreational players don't know where to stop. So they keep going and they end up in the alley and sometimes outside the alley. And so instead of moving side to side at the net, I teach staggering. So one player is slightly always in front of the other. And the player that's in front is, if you think of every doubles point, how it starts one up, one back, the player that's back should never get in front of the player that's at the net. You should never get in front of your partner.
Yep.
So whoever gets the middle ball, whoever gets any ball in doubles, it's whoever's closest to the ball. Whoever's closest to the ball in doubles has the first right at the ball. It's not my half, your half. It's my half if I'm in front, your half if you're behind.
Nice.
So so that creates a real clear responsibilities when there's two players at the net. If the ball's in front of me, I get the middle, and myself, we give the alley, let them have the alley, because not very many people can hit a ball down the alley, down the line. And then my partner's going to get the cross-court shot, but they're also going to get the lob, right? So they're responsible to get the lob that goes down the line over me.
Because the ball's going to be closer to them. Love it. So simple.
Yeah, exactly.
So simple. Fantastic. All right. Let's shift gears for a minute, and let's again on our vulnerability theme. If you don't mind sharing what happened for you last September 2024 when Hurricane Helene hit, and the birth of your foundation, Tennis for Hope.
Yeah.
Take that wherever you want.
Yeah. So
what would you say? Like, okay, so thinking 2026, right? This episode's coming out, super grateful, just before Christmas, 2025. So as you look into 2026, and I love this idea of symbolism, it's really been hitting me lately. What is it that what's your hope for 2026? And is there a symbol that comes to mind that you see for your future?
Yeah, that's a good question. I always go through a year-end reflection and look ahead. It's not a big number, particularly for me, because I'm turning 62. Like when I turned 60, it was a big number. And I was very deliberate about what I wanted the next sort of 10 years of my life to look like. But from one year to the next, I don't have like a big thing for you. But I mean, I do know that there's two things that come to mind. First is transitioning, because my kids will almost be going to college. And the second one is sort of this, that I hope by December 2026, we have $1 million in pledges for Tennis for Hope. Like we have a target of $1 million, and I hope that for Rally for Florida is super successful. The sort of vision for Rally for Florida, it's that it's replicable. So when there's a disaster in Texas, we'll have a rally for Texas. When there's one in California, we'll have a rally for California. We'll have a rally for where there's a tornado. There's natural disasters never end, and people in the tennis community are affected, whether it's, in this case, clubs that are getting torn down and people don't have that, and why it's important to rebuild a tennis club, because you need the outlet, and having lived this, like I needed the outlet. I needed to not think about like rebuilding my house all the time. And I was basically a general contractor and dealing with builders, and, so I needed that mental break. So I could just go play tennis for an hour. For my case, it was pickleball, or I could go to the gym and not think about it. Right. So that's why it's important to rebuild. And no, I was going to say, I hope a year from now we talk again and we think it was a great year, and we raised a lot of money and helped a lot of people.
Yep. And when you think of the word hope, what do you see? Or what's a symbol that comes to mind? What does hope look like to you?
Let's see, these are such great questions. That's why I love talking to you, Emma, because you always have great questions. I think the word hope means a new beginning, right? I mean, I felt like but not only a new beginning, but a new, better beginning. And that's what I want people to understand. Like from tragedy can come great new beginnings. My house is way nicer than it was before it flooded. Way, right? Because we fixed everything and it's brand new. And if you told me that when the house was flooded, I would be like, I wasn't ready to listen to that. But a year down the road, my house is nicer. And Tennis for Hope was born. So something amazing has come out of this tragedy. So, yeah.
Yeah, beautiful. And new
Revival.
beginnings. So good, so good.
New beginnings, yeah.
All right. Well, we have a new section on season 8 of the podcast. It's called the Rapid Rally. Would you believe? There's a bit of a rally theme going on. So, it's where I'm going to give you a word and you're going to complete the sentence. But there's 3 words. And would you believe? Going back, by the way, thank you so much as well for contributing to my book, What Makes a Great Coach. You know, I featured a lot from our last interview in that, and you wrote me a beautiful testimonial. So I'm going to throw the 3 words that you said back at you when I asked you in 1 to a maximum of 3 words, what makes a great coach? So the first word that you said was motivate.
Okay. Oh my God, you got me. Get out of your ass. Get your head out of your ass and get going.
Love it. The second word is communicate.
Communicate. Be clear and concise with your messaging.
Love it. And listen.
Listen to the entire sentence that somebody's giving you before you start formulating your response in your head.
I love that.
Listen and process. Exactly.
Listen in the moment. Listen with all your senses. Oh, listen, everybody. Do something about it. If something moves you, do something about it. And you never know what the universe is going to give back. I love that. Meditate. Yeah. Quiet the mind. Be non-judgmental. One thought can be replaced by another thought. Build an evidence, a confidence trigger list so that can negate putting everything into one bucket. Remember, through vulnerability, there is massive amounts of growth. Gigi Fernández, you are a legend. You are an icon. You are a change maker. I adore you. Thank you so much for your support of all the little things that I do. You're always you give me hope. You give me hope.
Thank you. One last thing I want to say, sometimes people have a hard time making decisions. And I am a huge believer in making a list of pros and cons. Just write down all the pros for this, all the cons for this decision, all the pros for this decision, all the cons for this decision. And usually you'll find your answer if you make a long list of pros and cons.
That's again, on this episode, many gold dust moments. May you all treat both imposters just the same. Thanks again, Gigi. Appreciate you.
Thank you. Thank you.
The Coaching Podcast is sponsored by Transition Coach for Athletes, a global coaching, mentoring, and U.S. college sporting scholarship placement service. The service helps athletes navigate the often challenging world of choosing your best college fit while maximizing sports performance. Visit www.transitioncoachforathletes.com. If you enjoyed this episode, please leave a rating review on your podcast listening device. And don't forget to tell a fellow coach about the show. The ball is in your court to take action and enjoy your coaching.